Hey guys, welcome back to the Pray Panel podcast. We're back after a week to discuss the crazy offseason, break down the expansion draft, and all the trades that happened prior to that. We're discussing Oya, Keith Edmonton, Jones, Divine Vertalainen, as well as important topics that we wanna discuss to grow the sport and how it affects everyone in every likelihood that's possible. Where do you want to start first? So, where we got Hyman on the no trade. The rumor was that
What do you mean? Where
Dubas.
are we gonna start? We gotta
We're gonna
talk about
start
the
with the
Leafs
Leafs.
first and foremost.
Yeah.
Always the Leafs, man.
Oh, it's always about the Leafs first. So we got Hyman. The rumor was Friedman said a sixth. I mentioned offered a sixth, but Dubas wanted a second. Um, who wants to go first? Cause I have some thoughts and opinions, but I want you guys to go get started first.
I think it's fine. I think the whole thing was like not helping another team unless you're getting good value back. Like I feel like helping another team contend and save like a whole league min extra of a contract. Like it's the difference. Let's just say what was it like 5.8 versus like 5.1. That's like almost a league min
It was
contract.
it was
You're
uh it
helping a
was like
team,
400K basically. It's like
but still, like
5.125 to 5.5 or something.
yeah, and like you're helping another team like stay under the cap limit and potentially use that money for another like impact player, like boost the salary or entice a player to come play with them in free agency. And I feel like maybe a second was too much. I think not I think it was too much. I think he was asking for a second. A second was definitely too much. But then also I think the rumor was like apparently he was only getting his seventh back. That was the offer. And I agree that's way too little. Like Kyle Dubas has to talk shit, do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, he's a GM, and as a GM, you want to maintain your rep that you're not going to sell low, right? So in this
Yeah,
situation, he didn't want to sell low.
yeah. Like honestly, like aside from just Toronto, like Kyle Dubas has to think about his career as well, right? Like, does he want to be known as a guy who's soft, right? Like, if Kyle Dubas accepted whatever they offered, like a seventh or a sixth, like everyone's gonna think that you can just run over him, you know. So I think it's good that he stuck to his guns, like Steve Dangle and Baroj said. But like it would have been good to get something back. I'm not gonna lie, but that's life.
I think the thing that happened most was salary cap flat, and salary cap is an asset. So you're helping another team decrease the salary cap hit, which makes them more like exercisable, so they can exercise the cap like more. So 400K can mean a lot to like signing a guy for what like league min 300K more. You are on top of that, or like you are a great player for 400K more. That 400K can make a big difference, especially in flat cap pros as well. Is that all the thoughts we have for the Hyman trade? You guys want to just skip over to whatever you have next on the list?
Yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to mention that there's some rumors going around that Nick Foligno might sign with the Oilers too. So it's kind of fucked that Oilers are taking our top two left wingers.
Aren't the Leafs still talking to Nick Foligno?
That yeah, that was
Yeah,
that
they're
was
still talking to them, but
that's
there's
fake.
some rumors going on. Oh,
That's
that's
fake.
fake?
Wait,
Okay,
that was
thank God.
fake.
I didn't dare pick not as fake. I
Wait,
they
which one's
talk
fake? Oilers or.
the Oilers. Kevin McGrath. I
Okay,
think
okay.
they're
Oh, okay.
trying.
I thought you meant
Yeah.
talking to the Leafs.
No,
Would
no,
you guys
that
want him back? Like, I definitely feel like he has to take a huge pay cut to come back. But
I
100%.
don't like I
Has to be
wouldn't
a huge
mind
pay
him
cut.
back, but I don't think it makes sense at anything over like 2 million,
yeah, I agree. Like, that's probably what did he
you
make
know?
last year?
five and a
He was
half,
like 5.
five
Yeah.
and a half
Yeah, there's
million.
there's no fucking way
And
that
I
he
don't
deserves
think he'll
that
sign
price.
here for 2 mil cuz he can definitely get more than that elsewhere. Like I bet you if he did go talk to the Oilers, they'd offer him 4.5 or 5.
They'll offer him the sun and the moon, man.
Yeah, and then he'd
Um,
play on McDavid's wing, and McDavid would be at the net, and Foligno would be like at the blue line, still skating.
the only thing though is like I feel like everything like when like Nick Foligno first got traded to the Leafs, like I feel like that's when like my hype was like at the peak. So like I feel like I remember I was reading like all the article, watching all his interviews, and he seems like one of those like really like genuine guys. So I feel like I don't know why there's a part of me that thinks he would come back here on a discount even for 1 year just to like prove that he didn't come here for no reason. You know what I mean? Like he wanted to come to the Leafs. He showed interest from his side, like with his GM, and he told him like he was willing to go to the Leafs. And I feel like he's the type of guy that would want to honor that and like try to come back and prove that it wasn't for nothing. You know? Because like yeah, he didn't impact, but he also got injured. And I know all these excuses, blah 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 blah, but I feel like that injury did impact his play, right? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. As long as it's not over 2 mil, like you said, Narian.
Yeah, he had a back injury, so he couldn't skate as well as
He
he
looked
wanted.
slow after that injury, man. He looked
Yeah,
really slow.
yeah, it's so bad. Like, I understand that requiring him for first and 2/4 of the overpayment, but the thing is, a lot of teams were interested. Colorado was interested in him. I think Vegas was interested in him. So you gotta kind of up the ante of your offers, right? So the way it can beat out the other offers. So I guess that was the offer that they took, right? And like it was what it is, and I hope he like I'm not I like I hope he comes back on a discount so he can prove like all the guys wrong, and like he when he was healthy, perfectly fit in with Matthews and Marner. We can't debate about that. He fit in with Matthews and Marner, and
Yeah, like when he first came in, he was pretty good. Like I think he came in and he proved that he was worth it, but then it's that injury. All right,
yeah, the
let's
India
not
Monster.
let's not go back too far into the past again.
Yeah,
It's gonna make me depressed.
yeah, me too. So let's skip over. You guys want to talk about Seattle, or you want to talk about Keith to Edmonton? Because we were already on the subject with Edmonton.
I think let's go with Seattle.
You want to go
I feel
Seattle
like it's
first?
gonna be
Okay.
yeah.
So what do you
There's
guys
a
think
lot
of
to digest here, man.
Yeah, so what do you guys think of Seattle? Give your thoughts and opinions on the Seattle expansion draft and how it went.
Bro, Leafs
I
Twitter
liked it.
melted like after
Oh
McCann
man,
got
the fucking.
taken. Dude,
Well, okay, what do you guys think about that? Honestly,
The way I
I'm
think of it
fine
now,
with it because it was exactly what Dubas had planned. Like
yeah, like
obviously he did it
McCann was
eagerly
leaving
so that could
Pittsburgh.
happen. So we got exactly what he wanted.
Like I think ideally I would have rather them taken Kerfoot, but
Me
like
too.
beggars can't be choosers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's not like
Like
we
Yeah,
the
like-
way
lost
that I
like a
see
Mark
it,
Giordano or like you know what I
yeah,
mean.
exactly.
A lot of other
The
teams
way that
lost
I
like
see
really
it,
good players.
it was fine because it was exactly what Dubas intended. We kept the D together, which is obviously what he cares about the most. Which I mean, after how the D played last year and how Campbell looked playing behind our D, I don't think you can really argue that, right? The forward
Yeah,
group needs a shake up anyway, so I mean, yeah, I'm fine with it. I think Hall would be harder to replace uh, at that kind of a cap hit. So in this way, I mean, Kerfoot's good. He can play on the PK. We lost Hyman on the penalty kill, so having Kerfoot staying is probably not a bad thing, and he can play left wing if we need him to, or he can play the 3C spot depending on who Dubas brings in free agency.
Dougie Hamilton.
Yeah,
cough,
he's
Dougie
coming.
Hamilton,
He's
maybe.
coming, guys.
Hopefully he comes, man. I want him so badly too. So the way I look at it is they wanted to build a team that was big, like huge. So I think their smallest guy was like about 5'10", and they drafted like guys like Curtis McDermott who's like 27, and but he's like 6'7" or some shit like that. What is he? He's 6 foot. What is he? 6'5", 233 pounds. So they drafted like huge guys, like big guys, and I don't know what the strategy was, where it came from. We know like it doesn't work as well as it used to back in the day, but I think they're looking for a team that's hard to play against. and I think that's what the main goal was. Yeah, like all the guys like Morgan Geeky, who's the smallest skill forward. Ron Francis probably knows him well because he drafted him. That's what even like guys like Kill Fleury, um Hayden Fleury. Look for like two Fleury drafted in the expansion draft. Who would have thought that? Um, the brothers. So maybe that's why Vince Dunn was a really good pickup from St. Louis. Good offensive defenseman. Probably gonna quarterback to PK. No, never mind. I like Mark Giordano probably gonna peak. He probably gonna be second PK and Mark Giordano probably gonna be the first PK. Um, if you look at the defense, it's pretty huge. Jamie Electric's a big dude. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say. Big team. Um, yeah. The offensive court is pretty good too. Jordan Eberle, Yanni Gordy, Yanni Donskoy, Brendan Tatum, Jaden McKenna. All these guys are hardworking guys. Mason Appleton from Winnipeg. Yeah, all these guys are hardworking guys. So I think they're trying to create a team that's hard to play against.
I think one important thing to note is like this is definitely not like there's still going to be more changes to this team before puck drop.
Oh,
Like they only have 9 forwards on their roster. You know what I mean? So like, there's definitely, um, there's definitely more changes coming. Like some of those are UFAs that are going to be signed. Maybe there's more trades coming and stuff. But I think that's one thing to consider. And the other thing is like they actually drafted a pretty young team overall. Like there's only Giordano and Eberle are the only players on the team that are over 30 years old. Um, so I think it's like a good team that still has room for growth as well. And obviously, you could tell by the way that they drafted that they cared, like you said, about like big guys that were hard to play against, and they cared about having cap space. So I think from that standpoint, it was a success. There are still some guys that I'm kind of like weirded out why they left them on the table, but this was their strategy, and it seems like they executed it. It's just a matter of if it was the right strategy or not.
You
one
guys want to
guy.
hear the craziest stat?
Sorry,
There's
boy.
only five. There's only 5 players from Vegas Golden Knights expansion draft still playing on their team.
Yeah.
Bruh, what?
So they drafted 30
Shit.
guys, and only 5 of them are still on their roster. Marchessault, Carlson, William Carrier, Braden McNabb, and Marc-Andre Fleury. So like, I feel like at the end of the day, it literally does not matter who they drafted, right? And even despite saying that, they still got a lot of good guys. Like they definitely got more than 5 guys I would want to keep on a team. You know what I mean? Like,
But you know what? Like,
I don't know.
didn't Vegas have a lot of trades, like, to protect, like,
Yeah.
They did.
teams wanted to protect their players? Yeah, like, I didn't notice Seattle have that much, right? Did they have any?
No,
Like,
they didn't.
Tyler
I think they
Pitlick
had
They
for
didn't. But
forward.
did Vegas also have 30 million in cap space though? Like,
oh,
They must
true.
have had a decent amount of cap space.
they definitely had a decent amount. But I don't know.
Oh,
To be
guys.
honest, like,
Sorry, Elliot Friedman said on his latest like thoughts that Jaden Schwartz is going to Seattle, so you can add that to the roster too.
yeah, like I think, like just looking straight like at rosters, not knowing anything, like not knowing how Vegas would play. I think if you put these two rosters side by side, I think Seattle's roster is better. Like without having like the full hindsight, you know what I mean? But like personally, to me, this roster looks a lot better than Vegas did when I first saw it. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, for sure, it looked way
Yeah,
better.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree, but like, I like that. Like, I don't know. I liked that the fact that Vegas made so many trades. You know, like I know their team
think-
didn't look that good initially, but
Everyone learned their lessons, man.
yeah, cause I think they had
That's
enough
true.
time to prepare for Vegas and for Seattle. Seattle
But
had
I
2,
think
3
it was a
years.
combination of that and also like Seattle was asking for crazy stuff to not pick a guy. Like a first and a third to not pick someone is a lot. I think if they had lowered the price, they probably could have gotten a lot more deals done. Maybe they didn't want to do deals. Like maybe they just wanted to draft who they wanted to draft, which is fine. But like if they had just said it's a third round pick to not pick your guy, I think way more teams would have jumped at that. Obviously.
I still wish they took Price though. Just to
100%.
spite fucking
That's
Montreal, man.
straight tampering by Bergevin. I don't care what anybody says.
Dude,
Like,
Bergevin
let's
is
expose
literally
this
a
guy.
scumbag.
But by the
Bergevin
way,
is a
he's
fucking
injured and
douchebag.
may need surgery, but we won't tell you until after the expansion draft. And then literally like the day after the expansion draft. By the way, he's fine and he'll be ready for the season. Like, okay. That's not
Speaking of
suspicious
Montreal,
at all.
before we move on,
We'll get to Bergevin.
what do you
later.
guys think about Shea Weber?
I'm hoping we see another Bergevin offer sheet with the cap space from Shea Weber.
Really? On who, Pedersen? That'd be scary.
It would be pretty fun. I don't know. Like I don't actually want them to get anybody. I don't think, because I don't really
Just
want
for
to
the
have
chaos.
Pedersen in our division. But it'd be fun to see another one at least, since it seems like he's the only guy with the balls to do it.
All right, you guys want to move on now, or you guys have any last thoughts on Seattle?
I think we should conclude it there. We got a lot of things to talk about today. So I think we just go on to the next topic. I know Nadeem has his thoughts on this, but I want your thoughts, Nadeem. Duncan Keith to Edmonton. I know you wanted to go.
Keith.
I know you want to go on a rant here, so the floor
Oh,
is yours.
yeah. This is like maybe one of the worst trades in a long time. Like, I don't know why you would bring in someone like that and not have any salary retained. Like if he was 50% retained, I could maybe see it. Like, okay, you bring in a veteran guy, you bring in a guy that knows how to win, somebody who can like help your young D. But at
He can't do
5.5
any
million,
of that. What are you talking about? Like, he can't do any of that.
he can be like a leader. Like I'm saying, I can see it if the salary is retained, because then it's more of like an intangibles move. You know what I mean? It's like bringing in
Like,
Thornton
he's
and
gonna be worse
Spezza
than
and
Joe
Simmons
Thornton was.
and stuff like that. But I don't know about that. I mean, he's probably going to be terrible, but
Dude, he has what
but I mean,
was
at
his
five
like
and a
Jay
half
Fresh
million, like
card?
there's
It was
no
like
excuse to
2%.
spend that cap space.
It was like
All
1%.
the Oilers fans, yeah, all the Oilers fans were all happy this offseason because they had all this cap space, but they lost Larson, added Keith, and re-signed Nugent Hopkins, and now they're gonna overpay Hyman. So like, that's what they did with all their cap space. They re-signed Mike Smith too. So they're essentially just running back the same team, except they swapped Larson for Keith and they added Hyman. Like I don't think that that's a better team. It might be a worse team because they were already bad enough defensively and they gave away like arguably one of their best defenders. So
Yeah, I saw this on Twitter, but like that McDavid was like in favor of that trade. Did you guys see
I'm
that
sure he
tweet too?
was
or-
because
Yeah,
NHL
right?
players don't look at analytics. All they see is like this guy who's won cups. And
Dude, but like, even if
plays
he
on a
hated the
successful
tweet,
team,
even if
and
he
they're
hated
like,
the trade, is he gonna come out and like go in the public and say he hated the trade? Like, you know these hockey
we'll know
players
in a
just gotta
few
say
years
what
when
they
he
gotta
leaves
say.
Edmonton and comes to Toronto.
Oh yeah, then we'll get all the tea.
Yeah, probably not, but you know.
Also on this key trade, why the hell would you do it? Like why?
It's
The
just
Nick-
boneheaded.
It's boneheaded. Like Letty was out there. Shooter just like
Yeah, there's so many better options too. You're right. I mean, like to me, this just guaranteed that the Oilers aren't winning anything for 2 more years, at minimum.
like a day later, Shooter just got. But I know Shooter's not coming because he's a fucking America guy. But
Is Klefbom coming back next year?
Pardon?
Is Oscar Klefbom coming
No,
back?
I think he played his last games. I think that's what.
Dude, if he doesn't come back, they're fucked. They're
No,
fucked.
I think
Like,
he
the
played his
Oilers
last
are
game.
not gonna be good. Like,
Like, you lose Larson, you don't get Clefbaum doesn't come back like you were hoping, and you just add Keith, like you imagine them playing Keith and Barry together. Somehow it happens, but they like we're one day the Leafs are playing Edmonton, and you see a Keith and Barry pair. Like
Matthews would
what do they think is
score
gonna
8
happen?
goals.
Like literally. Oh my god.
They're planning on returning Tyson Berry as well.
And
so
and
we
here's
take
the
that
thing,
for-
on top of that, their forwards are already bad defensively. So like this team is not going anywhere, in my opinion.
It only helps us, man.
You know what sucks about Edmonton? They have like two of the best talented guys, and they literally can't do anything with them. Like, you guys have all these things, and I think they're gonna look under into them. Like, come on, like you guys can't like do anything else except Toronto was like garbage ass, let's say garbage ass individuals, or not individual, but players, they're garbage. Like, Duncan Keith's way past the prime, and he's making what, $5.5 million a year for the next 2 years, and he got no salary retained. Come on, like, okay, the theory was Steve Danglin was saying is that Ken Holland is a big Team Canada guy, and Team Canada is a bunch of these groups, and Duncan Keith played on it, and Mike Smith played on it, and they keep on rotating these guys over and over again, and the Team Canada group keeps on coming back and again and again and again. And
Wait, hold up. Team Canada, Ken Holland, Mike Babcock. See where I'm going with this?
yeah, they're not gonna
No
fire Dave
way.
Tippett. They're not gonna fire Dave Tippett. They're not gonna fire Dave Tippett though. But if they were, and Ken
Dude, they're
Holland
gonna reunite
they
Tyson
don't
Berry
do well
and
this year,
Mike
they might.
Babcock.
and Ken trust
Dude,
me,
the reunion.
and Ken Holland was there for Mike Babcock's practically whole career with the Detroit Red Wings. Remember that too.
Yep. I could see
So
it happening, honestly. If
yeah, I could see
Tippett
happening
goes,
it too.
Babcock will 100% be in the consideration.
Cause Ken
Dude,
Holland,
Babcock's gonna put McDavid on the fourth line the minute he gets there.
He would, yeah. He'd be like, you don't play defense. You gotta go on the fourth line there, bud.
exactly, like surround the guy with some like McDavid and Drysdale. Even though I pick apart Drysdale, cause I think he cherry picked, but this guy can score 50 goals easily. But he just needs a decent playmaker on his wing. Even a decent playmaker, and he can do like decent decent winger, decent two-way forward on his wing, and he's good. But David, you need an average, an average winger to play on the side, and you can't even get that. Like, you pay two second round picks for Andreas Athanasiou, and you didn't end up qualifying the guy at the end of the day. Like, come on, like how worse can it get for you?
Isn't Dominic Cahoon not qualified as well? Like
Yeah,
he's just
Dominic
gonna walk?
Cahoon and Julia Cara
So
are
who the
not
fuck
qualified.
are they gonna play on defense? Like they lost Larson, they lost Cahoon.
Cahoon the
Who-
forward. He's a winger.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm thinking about someone else. But either way, you're losing so many guys, and Duncan Keith is your solution.
You have, I think the defense. You guys can talk, but I'm gonna put up Edmonton's cap friendly right now. I'm gonna put it up.
I have it up. So they
Have
have
it up?
Darnell Nurse. They have Duncan Keith. They have Clefbaum, who we said is questionable.
They're Chris Russell.
They have Ethan Bear, Chris Russell, Evan Bouchard, Philip Broberg, William Legason, Slater Cuckoo, Tyson Berry, and Dmitry Kulikov. The last three are UFAs.
Like they must think Evan, like Bouchard, is gonna take a big step or something. I know Broberg has a lot of potential too. Like they
Yeah,
must
I
think those two guys are
could
gonna
be
take a
bottom
big
pairing
step.
guys this year.
Wait, also aren't the Jones brothers reunited? Like or
Yeah,
united? Are
Chicago.
they actually brothers?
Yeah, they're
the
the brothers.
whole
Shit.
the whole NHL is on this like brothers together kind of kick. Chicago,
The Devils.
the
So these-
Devils.
The Leafs should be Alex and William.
There was
Yeah,
one
soon.
other team that did it with
Colton and
forget
Kirby
which
Doc with
team.
Chicago too, and Jack and
yeah,
Luke
Kirby
Hughes.
Duck,
Jack and
and
Luke
then
Hughes.
the Devils, the Jones brothers.
How good is Alex
Chicago did
Nylander?
it twice, eh? The Jones brothers.
I would
and the
love
Fox
him.
brothers.
Imagine Nylander same line. Even the Boomers going crazy. Oh my god. Holy shit.
Yo, Alex
They don't
Nylander.
will be
There
is a
messed
was
left-
every
one other
night.
team that did it too, but I forget who it was.
Yo, he's a left winger. Alex
Yeah.
Nylander.
So Nylander, Tavares, Nylander.
Oh God.
Alex, Tavares, and William on the line.
Okay,
Why
but
not?
can we just say this, guys? Like the Oilers currently have $9 million in cap space.
They
So
have
we
as
know
much the
that-
Leafs too.
We know that 5.5 of that is going to Zach Hyman on Friday,
Holy fuck.
right? So
Does that,
Jesus.
that includes their
that
Mike
leaves
Smith
them with
expense?
$3.5 million of cap space.
Does that include like Mike Smith already being signed?
Yes, that includes Mike Smith's new contract. So that gives them
$3.5
million
million,
of
and
cap
they're losing.
space to add
Oh
another
my God.
defenseman, add more forwards, and also not make their goalie tandem Mikko Koskinen and Mike Smith, unless
GG.
they want to run with that as their goalie tandem.
See,
Like,
Edmonton
the
makes me
Oilers are
feel good
not
about
in
being a
good
Leafs fan.
spot. You know, like they're not in a good
Facts.
spot unless Bouchard and Broberg really take like huge strides this year and become like solid top 4 D-men, which they could. Like I don't know that much about them. Like I don't think they're in a good spot at all.
They are. What's their? I want to pull it up. I want to see what the contract situation look like, cause I know they have. I think. They have like a lot of like RFAs thing coming up in the near future, but those
They
are like,
do. They also have like Ryan Nugent Hopkins. Like I didn't hear a lot of people talking about that contract, but is that not an 8-year contract? Yeah, this guy, this Ryan Nugent Hopkins is signed until 2029, and he's currently 28 years old.
Oh my god.
people
Like,
think that.
he's gonna be 36 with a over $5 million cap hit.
So listen. So
The Nuge, don't worry.
They still have James Neal at almost $6 million as well.
fucking oh my god. I'm just looking at the cap funding and it's a fucking mess. Holy shit. Did not qualify Jujhar Kara. Did not qualify Dominic Cahoon. They still Kyle Motor to resign. He's probably gonna want a 2-3 million. That leaves him what $2 million after the Hyman contract?
Yep.
Yeah, so there's the cap gone.
And then after this year, they don't have a ton of contracts ending,
And that's
but they'll have to re-sign
Darnell
Jesse
Nurse.
Puljujarvi. They'll have to re-sign Darnell Nurse. They'll have to re-sign
Ethan Bear.
a goalie, Ethan Bear. Like, I don't know what they're gonna do.
Tyson Berry
they're
can
probably
probably-
gonna have to trade James Neal for cap relief next year or this
They're gonna
year.
buy him out. That's the only solution I
Or
have
buy
for
him
them.
out,
Buy him
yeah.
out. But Tyson Berry, they're probably gonna return Tyson Berry too. So. Oh my god.
Anyway,
The team
We
has so
should,
much potential. Yeah, we should move on. This is
we should move on to the Canucks trade unless anybody has
the closing
anything
thoughts.
else they want to add.
Tini, what's your thoughts? We haven't heard your thoughts.
Nah, like it's pretty self-explanatory, man. Ken Holland, he fucked up. That guy's a dinosaur now.
Messed up big.
100%. Like everyone in Detroit knew like that he was past his time, like near the end of Detroit. But like then he comes to Edmonton and like everyone expected him to be shitty. And now he's actually being shitty, so it's not really a surprise.
Who's
But,
worse, Ken Holland or Peter Chiarelli in Edmonton?
Peter
dude,
Chiarelli.
that's tough.
Peter Chiarelli.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
Peter
I
Chiarelli,
actually
but
don't know. Like Holland has been
But
pretty bad.
Not by much. That's what I was gonna say. Like they're
what
both.
has he
pretty
done since he
fucked.
got here
Like-
that's good?
You got Duncan Keith. What are you talking about, man?
Peter Chiarelli at least signed Draisaitl to a good contract.
You got 3-time Stanley champion Duncan Keith. Okay, put some respect on the name.
You can't tell me. to
Did I
put
mention that he
respect
won
on
the
name
Stanley
when you
Cup 3
called it
times?
Stanley champion.
the Stanley champion.
3 times, man. They might as well extend
you know what
him
sucks?
now.
Like when Crosby came into the league, you knew that guy was gonna be like successful, you know. Connor McDavid, he came to the league. We thought he would be successful, and like at this point, can you really tell me that he'll win a Stanley Cup in his career? Like
I don't think
I can't
he will
tell.
if he stays on Edmonton the entire time.
But-
Yeah.
Didn't everyone say that about Ovi though? Everyone like throughout Ovi's career, like, yo, I don't know if this guy's ever gonna win a cup.
But at least Ovi
You know what I
had
mean?
like some
Like-
playoff success, you know?
But that's
Did he
that's
not?
different. Ovi had a good
No,
team,
bro, he-
but they couldn't win.
He didn't make it past the
McDavid
second
just
round
has
until he won the
incompetent
Stanley Cup.
management.
That's true.
Yeah, but look at Edmonton, man. Edmonton, like,
I think the
Yeah.
conversation is different. Like with McDavid, it's like we know he's good enough to win a cup, but we don't have any faith in the team that's being built around him. With Ovi, it was like they're giving you the team, but for some reason you just can't get it done. I think they're different conversations.
I feel like Ovi in like
Ovi's-
Washington is
Ovi
like
is
Toronto,
Matthews.
you know? Exactly.
You don't think, you hope. You hope that it's like Sean.
You wishful thinking.
Okay,
Okay,
let's move on, boys. Let's move on.
Yeah, let's move. So we're gonna
Okay.
move on to the Oliver Ekman trade. So the fourth trade was Canucks received Oliver Ekman and Connor Garden in exchange for the Coyotes, the horrific contract of Louis Eriksson, Anton Russell, Jay Beagle, the 9th pick of the 2021 NHL entry draft, a 2022 second round pick, and a 7th round in 2023. So I'm gonna give my thoughts and opinions for it. I wanna give my. You guys wanna go first?
No, go ahead.
So this is a win in the short term for the Canucks and a loss in the long term for the Canucks. Cause you look at you clear up what 20 something million for this year's cap pick. So Louis Eriksson, Anton Russell, Jay Beagle make around that much, and then the 9th pick, which is a big pick, you give up for just to get OER. So OER has around I think 8.5 million cap hit with retention. I think let me pull this up. Give me a quick second. So on the books, OEL is making $7.260 million until 2026-27. I think that's the right area. It's a lot for a defenseman that has been declining. Maybe a fresh start helps him. It's 8.9% of the cap. So that's what that was. Give me a quick second again. I gotta pull up the Arizona's cap friendly. Yeah, cause that's what that was. Cause I'm gonna say this right now. It might sound like a joke, but the Arizona Coyotes are the dumpster of the NHL. They take all these stupid bad contracts. They're taking all the bad contracts, and what are they doing with it? They just took Strawman's contract from the Florida Panthers right now as we're speaking. So Jay Beagle makes $3 million, Anton Russell makes $3 million, and Louis Eriksson makes $6 million, and they're all expiring at the end of this year, this upcoming year. So 2021-22 is their cap hits. I mean the cap hits are expiring. So 6 plus 3 plus 3. That's 12 million against the cap gone in next year. But instead, what Jim Benning does, things, is he does. We'll take your thing. We'll take your big Oliver Ekman 7.2. I mean 8.5, and you guys retain 12% of it, and you ship them to us. Why would you do that? Like why? It looks fine. Quinn Hughes has another offensive defenseman that can teach him the ropes, but Oliver Ekman really hasn't won anything. I don't know if he was part of the 2012 squad, probably not, but my thoughts and opinions are it's a bad trade in the long term for the Canucks. If Oliver Ekman doesn't get back on track with what he was before, because they could have just got rid of $12 million against the cap and not taken on their contract with Oliver Ekman. So I seen some Canucks fans happy about this trade because they got what I wanted with Connor Garland, but he's a really good player, but OEL is type of contract that I wouldn't want on my team, and I'm a Leafs fan, so we overpaid the top guys, but that's what it is. What it is, but OEL's contract as of now is a bad contract.
Yeah, when I first saw it, like I saw Garland going to Vancouver. I'm like, oh shit, this is a sick trade for Vancouver. And then I realized like OEL is pretty shit now, right? Like if you look at Jay Fresh, what he posted, he's like arguably the worst contract in the league. He's been absolutely terrible for the past 3 seasons, and is getting paid like number one for the next 6 seasons, right? Like that's kind of brutal to be honest. But and like as Jasper mentioned, like Vancouver has trouble with the cap, so I have no idea why they did this. Having a bad contract like Oliver Ekman-Larsson for the next 6 years, but at the same time for Arizona, like honestly, like 5 years ago, I thought they were smart for being the dumpster of the league, and then now, like 5 years later, it's kind of dumb that they're still doing it.
There's a garbage truck in the league, like what they took
Yeah, like remember they took like Datsuk and Pronger back in the day.
Yeah, they took Ladd, they took Strawman, they took Rousseau, Beagle, and Erickson. This five was the worst contract on the books, and they expect Andrew Ladd, and they have like I know Nick Schmaltz is in a like he's getting he's a decent player, but he's getting paid 5.85 million in 2025-26. Like come on, like they are the legit dumpster fire, not dumpster fire, but dumpster the league. These like are a bad contract, okay, we'll take them. That's what it is.
Am I the only one that actually likes the trade? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like whatever you sign Connor Garland to, him plus OEL is less than those three garbage contracts, right?
But
And
but
they're
those
actually gonna help you win. Like
But those
OEL,
contracts
okay,
were
but this
ending
a
soon,
contract
and
end at the end
OEL
of the
is
year.
signed for 6 more years.
but here's the thing: despite getting OEL, they still have 21 million in cap space this year. Yeah, they have a lot of RFAs to sign.
You sign
Next year they
Pedersen
have
and Hughes, and
38
that
million,
21 million is gone.
but they have 38 million next year as well. Like they have a
But
lot
then
of
look
cap
who's up
space
next
coming
year.
up. To be honest, who's up next year is Brock Besser.
That's
Like
pretty
that's
big.
it. But like you have 18 million for Brock Besser. Like I'm sure you can fit that in. Like,
But also they only
and I
have
feel like
4 defensemen
OEL
signed next year. They
OEL
only
was
have
over
one
a
goalie
40
signed
point pace.
next year.
OEL was over a 40-point pace. Like, and maybe his defensive numbers sucked because he didn't give a shit about playing in the desert. You know what I mean? Like, it's not impossible to think that OEL could actually turn his career around. Like, he's 30
I
years
think
old.
he will definitely be better on the Canucks this year than he was on the Coyotes last year. But I think even if
Yeah.
he is better, is that going to continue for 6 more years? And like, how much better is he going to get?
Yeah, but like when I'm looking at their cap friendly right now, and I feel like the next 2 years are probably the best window they'll have ever, right? Because they have actually 21, 22. Yeah, that's the upcoming year. They have 2 years left of Bo Horvat and JT Miller, and no matter if they got OEL or not, there's no way they could have re-signed Bo Horvat and JT Miller in 2 years from now, right? Like
Yeah,
JT
they
Miller
could.
is gonna and Bo Horvat, how those guys are gonna want at least 8 mil each, like
No,
easily.
8 mil
The problem
each?
to me though,
There's no way.
JT Miller is in.
JT
JT
Miller will
Miller
be
is
30.
really good, man, and Bo Horvat's their captain. Like Landeskog is asking 10
Okay,
mil.
so let's say
Like
they do want 8 mil each.
this is
If they can
what the
only
NHL
re-sign
is now,
one
man.
now,
Like,
give them an extra 7.5 mil in cap space from OUL, and that's the other one.
but would you rather have a defenseman or would you rather go forward loaded again? You know what I mean? Like, now you're gonna spend
If the
we talk shit
defenseman
about
is
the
a
Leafs, but then
35-year-old's OEL, then I'd rather get the forwards. I just think I think what you said
Yeah, but-
is is accurate in that they can only keep one. But I think the reason that they'll only be able to keep one is because they have OEL for 7.3 mil on the cap. Like, I think that is basically one of their next contracts.
Like, to
And
me,
they're
the
already
Tyler
not a
Myers
deep team,
Tyler
right?
Myers
That's
is a
the
bigger
issue.
problem than OEL. Having Tyler Myers for 3 years at 6 mil is a bigger problem than OEL.
At
I'd rather
7.2
have that
for
OEL
6?
contract than the Tyler Myers one. They have 3 years left.
But they
at
have both.
6 million
That's
for
the
Tyler
issue.
Myers. They have both. That's the
and
problem.
Then they,
Like,
and then they also have Nate Schmidt at another 6 mil. Like, this is
but Nate
this
Schmidt
is
can
not
actually
a
play.
good
Like, Tyler
defense
Myers
core.
is dog shit.
Like,
Yeah, Schmidt is.
but here's
Schmidt
the
is
thing,
pretty
like, here's
decent.
the thing. Benning is not, but they're looking to get rid of him because they can't afford
Like,
to keep him. Like, they're gonna trade
I
Nate
think-
Schmidt, and then
Yeah.
their defensemen are gonna be OEL and Tyler Myers. Like, Benning is not learning from his mistakes. That's my issue here. He's
Mhm.
still not managing the cap well. He's still taking on bad contracts, and he'll still probably give out a few more bad contracts as well.
Mhm. Like, just to me, just by looking at their like cap friendly, they got 2 years to be the best team they can possibly be, and I feel like in these 2 years, this trade makes them better for sure.
So
That's just my
I
opinion
kind of
on it.
agree with you on that. Like, I agree that they have a
And
good window in the next 2 years, like the next 2 years of their window. But do you think they're good enough to make the cup final in the next 2 years?
Maybe Benning knows that he doesn't have more than 2 years left, so why not do it, right?
But that's the thing. Like,
was,
do you think they're a cup final team in the next 2 years? Because I don't know. I don't even know if they're a second round team in the next 2 years. Like, I think that's where they would max out if they hit their potential.
Like, I think they're better than last year. Like, this year they didn't make the playoffs, but I feel like with the team they have
they'll
now,
definitely be better.
they have they'll have a playoff team. And considering that they went to the conference finals the year before, like, I feel like they can easily go to the second or third round.
But see, I
like,
feel like what
anything
took
can
them
happen,
to the
right?
conference finals that year was they had some depth, and they've lost
That's true too. Yeah,
basically all of that.
they got Connor Garland.
this is
That
a
helps.
cry
That's a good
for help. I
piece,
think.
for sure. But
I-
I don't know. I don't like the trade. I think it's kind of dumb to take on 7.3 mil of cap hit in a flat cap for 6 years when you have a lot of big contracts coming up to sign.
I know. I think this is the last chance for Jim Benning to do something, and I think Francisco Aquilini, who's the owner of the Vancouver Canucks, gave him his last chance. Cause I remember at the end of the season where I think rumors came out Jim Benning wasn't coming back, and all the Canucks fans celebrating, and Aquilini's like, no, he's coming back, and I think this is his last shot to improve the club, or maybe not even that, but I think this is his last chance, and he made this big ass move, signing Oya and saying that I'm gonna be gone by the time this contract is bad. So that's why.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at Pacific Division, like they're really weak, man. Like you just have Vegas and Edmonton at the top, and then like the rest of the division's pretty ass. Especially with Calgary losing Giordano and Sam Bennett. So I guess like it does make sense what Ballard is saying, right? Like Vancouver goes all in for the next 2 years. Because they could honestly make it to the second round, third round. But I don't know how far they go like after that.
You never know, man. Montreal made the cup final.
Don't talk about that. Biggest fluke ever.
Yeah,
Montreal was built for the playoffs, guys.
don't talk about that.
They've been saying it
You guys.
since last year.
All they had to do was like luck into making the playoffs 2 years in a row.
All they needed was for Matthews to not score. That's all they needed.
But I mean, like the thing is, like if I'm not going down this path again, but if it was not for COVID, the Canadians would have missed the playoffs both of the last 2 years.
Alright. Let's.
And I
Oh,
would
let's-
put
100%
money
the
on them
pandemic
missing the
is the
playoffs
reason,
again
yeah.
next year.
I
Alright.
think next year they don't make the playoffs for sure.
I don't think so either. I'd put money on it.
Like, let's do it. I'll go in with you.
All right, let's do it.
Me too.
I'm pretty sure we're all betting that Montreal doesn't
yeah.
make it.
Alright, you guys
The
wanna?
fun thing is though, I would have bet that this year too. So I don't know if I wanted to. I would have bet that this
No,
last season
I mean,
as well.
this year I could have seen them making the playoffs just because the North Division top four, like,
Yeah.
it wasn't that
Yeah, you're
hard to
right.
make the playoffs, especially with how the other teams shit the bed. That's the other thing, though. Like, they didn't make the playoffs this year because they played well. They made the playoffs this year because Calgary and Vancouver played, like, terrible.
They almost missed it too.
Yeah, they
both
almost missed the playoffs. The only reason they didn't make it is because Vancouver shit the bed.
and Calgary shut the bed too. Don't forget about Calgary.
Yeah, and Calgary shit the bed too. So, I mean,
Yo, okay. Who do you
anyway,
think
we're
out
not-
of the
we're not
Atlantic
doing this
Division
yet.
makes it out? No. Now
think
I'm down this
Boston,
rabbit hole.
No, I
Tampa,
think
Florida,
we're getting
Toronto.
we're getting a bit off track. We took a lot of things to talk about, but
No,
if you guys-
This isn't our.
This
This
is
is
a
coming
fun
in our
topic. What
season
do you
preview podcast in a few weeks.
yeah,
Stay tuned.
In like 10 weeks from now, like
10 weeks. Yeah, the season starts in
actually in 10 weeks.
in
from
like
now.
6 weeks, guy. The preseason starts in 6
Nah,
weeks.
it's preseason. Yeah, preseason.
Yeah, so we can just talk about it then if you guys want.
dude, what do you mean? Preseason's gonna go on for the next 8 months.
Oh, yeah, true.
The real season is that 7-game, 2-week stretch in May.
I love how you said only 7 games. Like,
Yeah.
I guess there's no more
That's
after
our
that.
real season. Is that 7-game stretch, guys?
We get
Okay,
7
get
real
hyped.
games in the year, guys.
Yeah.
Only 7. You guys wanna
At
move
least,
on?
at
five.
least the Leafs are nice enough to make it the maximum number of games, though. You know,
Yeah.
like they could get swept.
They give.
like
give
some
us-
What
other
happened to that
teams,
Amazon series?
Some other Canadians.
Is
I
it
think it's still
still coming
coming out. It's still coming out probably.
Are you guys gonna watch it?
I don't think I
Probably.
ever want to watch that. I don't want to relive this season.
Like,
Just relive our
I was
pain.
so
Yeah,
like-
like,
Just getting
I was
over-
so
I'm
hyped
just getting
all
over
year.
my
I was like, yo.
depression. Like I had to take 2 months off anything Leafs related to be able to come back on here and talk about them. I don't think I want to watch that.
It's just sad because all year I was like, yo, this Amazon series is gonna be so sick. The Leafs are so good, and now just thinking about it makes me sad. Like,
I hope they didn't stop filming after the playoff loss though. Like I hope they filmed after that and made the players talk about like how it was so disappointing.
how they're fucking shit. Like,
Yeah.
bro, you know what we should do for one of the podcasts? We should just like listen to one of our podcasts. You know how we like hype them up. Yo, Leafs are amazing.
Oh gosh,
Leafs are gonna
no,
make it
that's
far.
literal torture, man. I don't want to do that.
oh, like a React video. Like, we
Yeah.
should react to one of our previous podcasts.
Yeah, we should do that.
Or even just a clip. Like, I feel like the before the Montreal, when we like previewed every series, we should just listen to like the Leafs clip and just react to that.
Oh hell
That'd be
nah.
awesome that day.
Literally, I'm like,
Will not
okay,
be
we
in
don't need to
attendance
predict this
that
section. Throw back to when Negan said it was a sweep.
Yeah. You want to do that?
Straight up,
I
yeah.
could not have been farther from being wrong. Fuck. Alright, what's up next?
You guys want to get the elephant out of the room, or do you guys want to do the Blackhawks Cat
Let's
Jones
keep
trade?
talking trade. Let's do the last big trade, which is the Jones.
Okay, I'll read the Jones trade. So Blackhawks made blockbuster deal on Friday, acquiring all-star defenseman Seth Jones, number 32 overall pick in 2021. I need the entry draft and 6th-round pick in 2022 from the Columbus Blue Jackets in exchange for defenseman Adam Boqvist, number 12 overall pick in 2021, a second round in 2021, and a first rounder in 2022 that will become a first rounder in 2023 if the 2022 pick is in the top 2. So it's a condition on the 2022 first round pick.
And then they flipped the second rounder for Jake Bean, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
So Jake
You guys
Bean,
want to know the real winner of this trade?
That's an incredible
Columbus?
trade for Columbus.
The real winner of this trade is Toronto Maple Leafs fans, because we don't need to worry that Dubas is going to sign Seth Jones.
facts.
We already knew that wasn't gonna happen though.
It's too much. 8 times. Oh yeah, the reported
kinda wish
extension is
Oilers had
8
done it,
years,
though.
70. Oh, I forgot the caveat. The 8 years. The extension is 8 years, $76 million extension, a $9.5 million cap hit.
It's
That's
ridiculous.
fucked,
But,
man.
like,
9.5.
Why would they give up Adam? I thought Adam Boqvist was like hyped up beyond hell.
he was supposed to be pretty good, but like that's why I'm saying this deal is incredible for Columbus because they get Boquist and Bean on their back end. Like those are two young defense guys that are both going to be pretty good. So yeah, I think
Columbus keeps
fleeced
Laine, they'll
Chicago
have
on
a
this
sick
one.
team.
I also don't know why Chicago did this. Like they're not a contender, and this definitely doesn't make them one.
Honestly, I think they're going all in. Like
I think
Patrick
I think
Kane,
they
Jonathan
think
For
they're
what?
good
Taves.
The
enough to
UFA?
win, but I don't know why they think that. I think they're going for one last swing at it with Kane and Taves while they can still play.
Yeah.
But, like that's, I mean, they're mortgaging their future, which was actually looking pretty good. I don't know, big mistake in my opinion. They're throwing their entire rebuild off track.
Yeah.
Wait, but wasn't Seth Jones a UFA?
No.
He-
No.
Or was he a R?
He had 1 year remaining, and then he has UFA after that. He had a
So why
capital
the fuck
of
are we not trading Morgan Riley?
That's what I'm
If
saying.
Seth
This
Jones,
is what I'm saying. The
if
market
Seth
for
Jones-
D-men is huge.
dude, Seth Jones had 1 year left at 5 point. Fuck, I lost it. I just saw it on my screen somewhere.
5.4.
I think it was
million
like
dollar
5.5 or so. Yeah,
5.4.
he had
Yeah,
1 year
something
left
like
at
that.
5.4. In a sign and trade, Columbus got that back. What?
Yeah.
Imagine what the Leafs could get for Riley.
No, yo,
Like,
I
Tell me
think
they wouldn't get more than this.
no.
Riley's
no,
better than Seth Jones.
No, the value around the league is that Jones and Rasmus Ristolainen get more value than Morgan Riley, and it's not.
What makes you say that though?
You know why? Big
It's true,
body,
it's true.
Like, what's that
Righty.
based
big
on?
big body defenseman, right shot defenseman, not offensive defenseman. They're apparently the best two-way defenseman in the league. So that's what I think. Cause you know NHL GMs are freaking stupid as hell. Right?
Yep.
So they produce Seth Jones and Rasmus Ristolainen to be better than what Morgan Riley is. If you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And that's my theory, but you don't.
I feel like I gotta disagree on that one. Like maybe the right-handed part, but like Riley's still 6'1". Like he's not small, and he had way more points than Seth Jones did. Like by
Yeah,
far
but
in
they
all of
can't-
his seasons. Like
yeah.
every single season, I'm looking at them side by side, and like Riley's point per game is better in every single season.
Yeah, that is true, but the value
And,
the,
like-
the GM around the league value Seth Jones more than Morgan Riley. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
everybody thinks Seth Jones is like one of the top 5 D-men in the
Yeah,
league.
top 3 defense in the league.
But even if we can get a Ristolainen value out of Morgan Riley, why not trade him? I don't
That's
know.
my question. That's the
I
million
agree
dollar
with
question.
you.
I'm sorry for
100%
making
agree with
everything
you,
about the
'cause then
Leafs.
even if you can't sign Dougie Hamilton, you can use those assets or you can use that cap space to fill in the D in other ways. Because the way I'm looking at it right now is Riley's probably leaving at the end of next year. So I feel like we should try to get something for him, but we probably will not.
Vancouver
What did they get for
overpaid
Ristolainen? I know they got a first, but was that it?
Something insane. They got a
First
first
and a
and
second.
a second
First and a
and a prospect, I think.
No. I think it was
Well,
50.
they got Robert Haig. Robert
Robert
Haig.
Haig,
is
yeah.
good.
Robert Haig, yeah.
Bro, I'll take a prospect and a first for Riley any day of the week.
Yeah, like Kevin Papetti said. Remember when he came on our show? He said that they're gonna if a Morgan Riley trade were supposed to happen, he would predict that it'll be for unseveral deals. And
not only was
That's
it a
what I was
first round
asking
pick, it's
today,
in
like-
the top 15 too. Like it's a good first round pick. It's not
Yeah,
a
I think it was
late
the
first.
13th or something like that.
15th or 13th?
14th overall.
Okay.
That's still good, man.
That's
Basically,
still-
Even in a
ba-
weak
And honestly,
draft,
there's-
like,
Basically 13th because Arizona gave up a draft pick. Remember that's forfeited? So 13 basically.
Yeah.
Honestly, a lot of teams could use Riley. You know, like Calgary just lost Giordano, Islanders lost Letty. Right, there's a good amount of teams that could use him.
and I feel like
Yep.
if there's one way to shock your
Oilers could
core,
use him.
it's to send the old Vancouver could use them apparently.
Vancouver, yep.
But yeah, like if there's one way to shock your core into being like wake the fuck up, it's trading one of your core guys, right? And we know like we've talked about trading Nylander and Marner, but it's not feasible. Like it makes no sense to trade those two unless you have to, like if they don't make it out of the first round this year. But I think if you trade Riley, it shows you that you're not safe. You know what I mean? Riley's been here longer than these guys, and he's considered a core guy almost as much as they are. And if you trade Riley, it sends a bomb to these guys. It sends a message and tells them that it's still a business. Because right now they think it's just all fucking fun and games, and they'll be here forever. You know what I mean? But if they see their buddy Morgan Riley get traded, I if that doesn't send a wake up call, I don't know what does.
You know what? I swear to God, if they don't get by the first round and Dubas is fired, I think I might have to take a year off on this team. Cause no way in hell.
Oh, but Dubas has to be fired though. Like,
Dubas
Why?
should be fired if they don't make it
I'm not
past the
saying it's
first
his
round.
fault, but you have to fire Dubas. Like,
Why? What the? I don't get the. I don't get it. Why?
because
Cause he doesn't want to respond to the court and be patient. Okay,
you need
listen,
a
listen.
fresh mind in.
Yeah,
no, but
listen.
doesn't matter if his perspective is not working with the team, then you have to get a fresh mind in there,
That's true.
and that's just what it is. That's how
Like-
it works, man.
Yeah,
He's
like the way I look at it is like
reporting
Tampa,
that He's saying, yeah.
like Tampa, like Yzerman didn't win with Tampa. He built the entire core, but he ended up leaving, and then Tampa ended up winning right after he left, right? Even though it was Yzerman's
personally-
like vision.
Personally,
Sometimes you just need a guy to build around the core, and right now, to me, I feel like Dubas is not doing a good job building around our core.
Personally,
Like, at
I
all.
think that listen, the Mark Hunter drafts were fucked. That's what fucked us over right now. Trust me. Like you look at the,
But man, we can't just make excuses and excuses.
No,
like,
it's not-
how
it's not-
long are we gonna keep making excuses?
it's not excuses, guys. Just look at the drafts. You got no one out of what 2015, 2017. Also your first round picks. Listen, that's all Mark Hunter's fault, is it not? He was supposed to be a scouting genius, and he didn't get nothing. He drafted the big guys,
But, okay,
and he got nothing.
Just
Convinced
fine,
he-
And that could
You
have
answer
helped
me one
out.
question.
The Brinkat.
What's the
Rob-
difference? What's the difference between saying Mark Hunter fucked up Kyle Dubas? It wasn't Kyle Dubas' fault that he has no prospects. Isn't it also Kyle Dubas' fault that Jake Muzzin got injured against Columbus and John Tavares got injured against Montreal?
It's not his
You
fault.
can use that excuse too then. Yeah, so then that means we shouldn't be mad at the Leafs because the injuries happen. Same thing,
what
we
the
shouldn't be
fuck?
mad because we
It's the
shouldn't be mad
core,
because Mark
guy. The
Hunter
core
fucked
is
it up.
swab.
I don't
Exactly.
Like,
I'm
just-
so-
no, I'm
I
not.
think that Dubas is good. Like I think he's a good GM, but I think Balraj is right. Like if we don't make it out of the first round again next year, either Dubas is fired or one of the core four are traded, or both. You know what I mean? And he said multiple times now after every year we lost in the first round, he said, "I believe in the core. I'm keeping them together. We're not trading anybody." So he's literally putting his job and his reputation on the line for these guys, and he's saying, I believe we're going to win with them, and as long as I'm here, I'm not trading one of them. So if you're Brendan Shanahan and you're the team ownership and you feel like one of them needs to be traded to win, then it looks like you have to fire Dubas and get somebody else in there. I think he's a good GM. I think he's a GM that's capable of building a cup-winning team. I do also agree that we'd be in a better spot right now if we had some prospects from the last 3 or 4 drafts. And I think some of the guys that Dubas has drafted in the last few years are showing good potential, so hopefully that'll start to come through soon. But at the end of the day, the only thing that team presidents and team ownership cares about is results. And when you're paying that much money to these guys and they're not producing results, you have to change stuff up.
Yeah, and I love
Yeah, like
Dubas.
this kind. I'm not saying. Yeah,
But-
like I don't exactly to
but-
me. I love Dubas too. I don't want to see him go, but
Yeah, me too. I love him.
Yeah,
He's
like-
great. Like I
and-
really like him as a person and as a GM.
Yeah, and I think the thing that we're missing here is that like Shani himself is pretty amazing too, right? Like it was his vision that like started the rebuild, to be honest, right? So like whoever like if he does fire Dubas, like I have full faith in him like hiring the right guy. It's not like he's gonna go
Yeah, like-
hire like Shirelli or
That's
something.
the other thing, right?
Right?
Like
Yeah,
we
that-
have
that's
to have
true,
some
too.
faith in the ownership and the management because like Dubas is a good GM, but he's not the only good GM out there. He's not the only person who's capable of building a cup-winning team. And so if there's somebody else with a fresh perspective that can help the team, then they should be brought in to do that.
it's like we were saying about Tampa, right? Like Tampa's GM came in, he didn't touch the core, but he added a good amount of pieces to complement the core.
Yeah.
And why did Tampa win? Like, yeah, their stars went off, right? But the complementary pieces allowed their stars to play the way they did, right? And that's the problem we have with the Leafs is we have no complementary pieces that allow Matthews and Marner to go out there and dominate because Matthews and Marner are playing defense the whole game because no one else can do it. And and as much as I love Kyle Dubas, it's on him to provide the Leafs with those players to do that. You know what I mean? Whether it's trade, free agency, or I
Yeah.
guess draft, it's not his fault, right? But
Well,
just
I
because the
mean,
draft's not his fault doesn't mean he's out scot free, right?
I think there's a ton of things that aren't his fault that are just terrible timing. You know what I mean? Like everybody was planning on the cap going up. If we had an extra 5, 6 million, $7 million in cap space right now, I'm sure Dubas could put a much better team together, but we don't because of the pandemic, right? The drafts weren't his fault. The injuries in the playoffs the last few years aren't his fault. So like, I don't think it's his fault that we haven't made it past the first round. But at the end of the day, like, at some point you need to make a change somewhere to try and win around. You can't just keep running it back every single year for 10 years until your window's closed.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. Um, how did this become about the Leafs or the Riley contract? Everything was about
We
the
always
Leafs.
find a way.
That's why I said. So you guys want to get to the elephant in the room, or because
Yeah, what are we doing first, Montreal or Chicago?
I think we could do Chicago first, because that's the bigger one. So this is a warning if you guys it's a warning to all the sexual assault victims. If you guys listening to this is your time to exit, or if you guys are not comfortable with this kind of stuff, it's a trigger warning. So just not trigger warning, or like even a warning. If you guys don't want to listen to any of this, you guys can exit the room briefly, or you can stop listening as of now. So back in 2010, when the Blackhawks were in May of 2010, where the Blackhawks were in the middle of the cup run, um, there was an instance with the then video coach Brad Aldrich in an apartment with a player, a sexual encounter with a player. That was horrific, and no one should go through it. But here we are talking about it because the NHL sucks and they suck at this kind of stuff. Um, then GM Stan Bowman, assistant GM Kevin Cheveldayoff, who is with the Winnipeg Jets right now, and then player personnel Mark Bergevin, who is now the GM of the Montreal Canadiens. We'll get into that later. That was apparently didn't know about it. Neither John Quimble, but stories kept coming out. Ben Sopel, um, Nick Boynton, they came out and said that everybody knew. A marketing department said they knew, and I don't know how Mark Bergevin and Kevin Cheveldayoff didn't know, but that's a complete lie. Um, you guys want me to read out the story, because it's pretty horrific that this happened. Um, it's from Rick Westner's article. He's been on this since the beginning of it, since the lawsuit came out, and luckily we don't know the player. He wants to keep it private, which is I think the best option, because you don't know what's gonna happen with the case, or where it's gonna go. Um, so I'll read it out. This is graphic as hell, so you guys be ready. So um, from requested article from TSN, I think this was published 4 days ago. On July 22nd. So this is from the exact case. So former Chicago Blackhawks player alleged in a new court filing that he was coaxed into visit then video coach Brad Aldrich apartment in May of 2010. So Brad Aldrich is the son of head equipment coach Mike Aldrich from the San Jose Sharks. And Mike Aldrich been working since 1995. So in nepotism that Brad got this job from dad Mike in San Jose. So in May of 2010, with the promise that the two would review gay video game together. But after the player arrived at Aldrich's apartment, Aldrich turned on pornography, began to masturbate, and threatened the player with a baseball bat. The court fighting stayed, adding that Aldrich then ejaculated on the player while he was paralyzed with fear. The details are included in documents filed Thursday in connection with two lawsuits and filed against Blackhawks in Chicago. In one lawsuit, a former Blackhawks player who is identified in court records as John Doe 1 alleged that he and the team were sexually assaulted by Aldrich, who was no longer with the organization. The player alleged that after he shared the news of the assault with team sports psychologist Jim Gary, he was told the incident was his fault. A second lawsuit against the Blackhawks by a former high school player in Michigan referred to in court documents as John Doe 2 alleged that after learning of the allegations against Aldrich, the team allowed him to remain on staff through the summer of 2010 and then gave him a positive job reference. The reference allowed him to coach the high school team in Houghton, Michigan, where then Aldrich sexually assaulted the teenage player. Then it goes on to say Aldrich was sentenced to 9 months in prison and probation for 60 months. Court records show he tested for HIV and completed probation February 13, 2019. I don't know what to say, guys. This is a kind of, I don't know even what to say. It's just, I'm a lost for words right now. I don't like. No one should go. No one should be able to go through this. No one should be able to, like, be scared to go to their work or go anywhere they want without being paralyzed or without being like any sort of scared. This is just numbing, and I don't know, like, you guys can go ahead on this because I'm at a loss for words.
Honestly, it just makes me lose respect for everyone in that 2010 team. Like, I was reading into this stuff too, and I feel like I don't remember who, but I know a couple of people came out and said that there's no way that every player on that team didn't know what was going on, and like apparently the players are like saying homophobic slurs towards the player that got like abused, and like Jonathan Taves is held in such high regard. It's like he's one of the golden boys of Team Canada, of Canadian hockey, of hockey in general. Like I remember the whole controversy when he got put on like the top 100 of all time list, and there's so many people defending him, and that was based on his play. But like the whole point is that like he's held in such high regard. He was considered one of the best captains in the league for such a long time, Captain Serious. But people are gonna make excuses, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how old he was. He was the captain of that team, and if it was true that every player on that team knew, and he did nothing to stop it or put an end to it, like that ruins his whole legacy and his whole career for me. And this just makes the whole Duncan Keith situation worse too, because all these allegations are going out, and Duncan Keith was, I'm pretty sure he was an alternate captain on that 2010 team. He was one of the best players. He's probably one of the biggest leaders in that group. And if he's a part of all this, then why would you want a player with that character on your team? And then we're talking about Bergevin drafting a sexual abuse player, a player who did that in earlier in his career. And this player was actually trying to better himself, I think, right? I don't know the full story, but apparently he said he needs to take time off. He doesn't want to get drafted to work on himself. But the point is, Bergevin said, I don't care. Who cares if you're a rapist? I want you on my team. And then Cheveldayoff is the GM of the Jets, and we haven't heard too many controversy about him, or maybe we did, and I don't know. But now this is the problem with the old boys club in the NHL, right? Like they're all buddies, so they don't care what happens. They just want each other to stay in the league, right? Like
Yeah,
if you have
I
a
think
good rep with
the
one of
thing
these
is,
old guys, go ahead.
I th-
I'm done.
it's, I mean, just overall, like, it's everything about it is disgusting. Like, the fact that it happened, the fact that people made fun of the player for it and teased him, the fact that, you know, there's zero accountability for anything at this level, and there has to be a zero tolerance for this kind of stuff, and obviously there isn't. And if it's happened this time, it's probably happened other times. um, but there's just zero accountability. The fact that the guy got a job reference is ridiculous. The fact that, you know, these GMs and management that were in charge of the team at that point aren't getting grilled harder about this, and aren't suffering any consequences about this. The fact that they still have their jobs managing teams and leading players and stuff like that when they obviously don't care about protecting their players. Like, it's just, it's everything that's wrong with hockey, and the response to it by the teams, and the fact that this is not a bigger story and more action hasn't been taken just shows that we're not even close to changing that culture and what's wrong with the game. And like, I don't have much else to say about it other than that it's just really unfortunate, really disappointing, and just really sad. Like, nobody should have to go through that. And really, I think what you're saying is spot on, Balraj. Like, it really tarnishes those cup teams and that group for me.
That whole core, man. The
And
entire
I
core.
hope we see a good resolution out of this, and I hope that nothing like this ever happens in hockey again. But the reality is that more significant changes
What do you guys
need to
think
be
they should be
made, and there
punished
needs
with?
to be more accountability. I don't think
To be
I think there
honest,
has to be a proper.
I think
I
they
think
got
the
to.
Blackhawks
No,
did
they got to be
hire some
punished,
firm
man.
to do an investigation or something, but like, I think the management of that team should not be able to be in the league anymore, or should at least be suspended
You're
or
right, man.
something. Like, I mean,
The whole management
like,
should
how
be
can you
fired.
say
Like,
that these guys knew it happened and basically didn't do anything about it, swept it under the rug, gave the guy a job reference that he could go work elsewhere, and are getting away with that?
and he went to a high school, right? And he did the same thing over there.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, I mean, there has
You know
to.
what I think
That's
though?
my
Like,
thing. Like, there has to be accountability. There has to be the league stepping in, or someone stepping in and saying, "You can't do this. This was wrong. You handled it terribly, and you don't deserve to have this job anymore." Like, having an NHL management job is a privilege. It's very coveted, and it's hard to have. And like, we should have good people having those jobs, not ones that don't want to protect their players and who will sweep stuff like this under the rug.
yeah.
I think if Arizona loses one draft pick for like testing draft players ahead of the draft, then Chicago should lose like 4 first-round picks.
Yeah,
or
like
something
that was a bigger story with bigger consequences than this is, which is ridiculous.
That's what I'm saying.
'Cause
And
they
if they really
barely
want to
even
send a
did
message,
anything.
that's what they'll do. That's
But
how
they
you send a
won't.
message.
But they
So
won't.
Oh no,
Because
no
the other
way.
thing with the
No
NHL
way
is
they
they
will.
also want to sweep this under the rug. Like, they don't want this to be a huge story because it looks bad on that.
my opinion is that Stan Bowman, Mark Bergevin, Kevin Cavalier, and the whole like the whole management crew should be banned from the league, like straight up banned. So should ownership. Ownership should be sold. Everything should be like gone. Like everyone should be gone. Fresh slate. The ownership gone. Everyone gone. Cause you look back at the NBA. Remember Donald Sterling, the racist guy on the Clippers. They banned him. Straight up banned him from the league. And you know why? Cause the players stuck up. Cause they don't want to be called racist. Like even the NHL, they still have a racist problem. I'm not gonna sweep this under the rug. So remember Kemal you he opened up an investigation. That investigation never had gone through. Never. It hadn't. Like he said that personally that the investigation still hasn't been like gone Like to and remember, Bill Peters was part of the Rockford. I don't know what the frick Rockford Admirals. I think it was. I remember Rockford Ice Hogs. Sorry, the Blackhawk organization back in the day with Bill Peters behind the bench, and now we're hearing about Chuck Chisholm, and then Bill Peters beating. The Hawks organization is flat out fucked. I'm gonna say that it's flat out fucked in the head. The NHL's fried. I don't know, like I don't know where to go with it. You gotta ban everyone from the league. That's my opinion. But otherwise that otherwise that that it is what it is. I guess the coaches have more power than anything. They can do anything they want to the players, and the GMs can do anything they want to the players, and it's okay with the league. That's what it is. So unfortunately, it's a bad way to end the podcast, but we're running out of time here. So thanks for watching. You can follow us on Pay Planet Podcast on our Instagram, on Twitter. The message here is stay safe. Um, report anything if you guys need to. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later.